If you were an investor today and you saw the futures market for the stock market, you would see that a lot of the Magnificent Seven stocks have dropped tremendously during the futures market. And you might be wondering, what is going on with all of this? Well, I have an opinion, all right? One of the things that have come out over the weekend and has shown a huge concern for Magnificent Seven stocks is the release of DeepSeek AI. Now, I have been using the app myself. It is very similar to ChatGPT, but it's made at a lot cheaper costs compared to ChatGPT. The thesis that all these Magnificent Seven stocks have had during this whole time was that the US was going to be the sole provider of AI, and the US was going to make tremendous profits of selling AI services to companies across the world, right? That it was only going to be these Magnificent Seven AI companies because who else was creating AI at the time? Nobody. Well, that stops today because we have Chinese AI company DeepSeek creating their own chat GPT at a lot cheaper costs. That thesis of how US was going to be the sole provider of AI and so US is going to be the sole beneficiary of the AI competition, that's not it. And this actually starts a real race for the AI because before it was kind of like, hey, the US government kind of knew that these companies are getting too big, they're going to win the race, AI race. But now it's come to a point where the US government really needs to allow the US companies to thrive. Because before during the Biden administration, it was more about, hey, these companies are getting too big. Lena Han came in with all the lawsuits to make sure that the monopolies don't get out of control. But we're at a point where it's a real race. And it's a race that the US could lose out on. And now today I saw some of the most fascinating things. I saw Nvidia going down 5%. I saw Microsoft going down 3%. I saw Google going down 2.5%. The point I see in this was that while a lot of investors seem to be panicking a bit, they might be doing some panic sales. I am actually very excited about this because these are some great companies, you guys, that I would love to be a part of, right? I think about a company like Microsoft. One of the things Microsoft is doing is an $80 billion AI cloud data center infrastructure capital expenditure bill, right? Where they're spending so much money to build AI data centers that any company that is creating AI right now, they're creating so much data, they need a place to store that data. Where else better than Microsoft Azure? And not only that, Microsoft has been able to make so much money before AI that I think that even though they have a 3% pullback, that there's a DeepSeek AI from China, it's not gonna destroy their moat. Like the idea that a single company creates one app and destroys Microsoft moat is ridiculous to me, right? As a result, I am still bullish in Microsoft. It is one of my either number one or number two holding just because I buy into this Microsoft position constantly. And I'm really excited for Microsoft in 2025. Now, the other company that I do invest in that is getting hit by the DeepSeek release of their own ChatGPT app is Google. And with Google, yes, Google had this idea that they were going to be creating Gemini app, right? And even if Gemini does not become a huge hit, people are still going to be using Google, in my opinion. People are still going to be using YouTube. Their AI capabilities can still benefit Google in terms of YouTube, in terms of ad search, in terms of data center cloud. Because of that, I see Google as a company that does not need to rely on AI so much for them to be at this valuation, to be successful in the future. Because if they keep on doing the same thing they're doing right now, which is building upon Waymo, building upon Google Cloud, building upon YouTube, building upon Google Business Suites, there are so many different ways that Google can succeed in this market. And then the third company, now I used to invest in Apple. I no longer do invest in Apple, which is the Apple going down 2.5% because of this news. Now, Apple's in a very tricky spot here because they have a lot of investments in China. And with Apple, the biggest concern that people have is when TikTok is getting banned, there's this fear that, hey, could China retaliate against Apple one of the U.S. treasurers, or could China retaliate against Tesla for TikTok being banned because of those geopolitical risks? It's it's an interesting one because there is a real caution for the stock to come down. But here's why I will tell you right now why I think Apple in the US at least is gonna be good for a while. All right. And it's because of the freaking accessories. All right. One of the things I'm gonna be very honest about this, you guys, is that Apple really got me. Apple got me because you see it right here, I bought the freaking headphones and I have the Apple Watch. Because of these sticky products, it makes it very difficult for me, myself, to buy a different phone other than Apple. Every a few years, I'll have to keep on buying a new Apple device because of all the ecosystem that they got going on. I have the watch, I have the headphones. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna switch a new phone and lose these accessories. Because of that, I believe there are other people just like me, besides, except they might actually have the laptop, then they might have a MacBook. Because of all those ecosystem that Apple has built going on right now, I do think that this is a company that when there is a pullback big enough, I always look into trying to buy it. It's in my buy list right now. It's in my watch list. I don't currently have any Apple at this moment in time, but it's a position that I plan on going back again. And then in terms of my other two companies, all right, Costco and Chipotle. If you look at the stock market futures today, you will see that these two companies are not so impacted by the stock market news of DeepSeek. However, these two companies I am still bullish on. They are having some pullbacks at this current moment, but they are not pulling back in related to DeepSeek. It's mainly because, in my opinion, due to the tariff news. For example, Chipotle, they have a lot of produce that they get from Mexico, and then in regards to Costco, there are a lot of items there that is imported, not just from Mexico, but around the world. And that's one of the fears that investors do have. Now, with all that being said, one of my favorite things in the stock market, you guys, that occur rarely, but it does occur, is when we have indiscriminate selling today. All right. When we have indiscriminate selling like we have, where a ton of companies are just getting obliterated, that they're coming down in price. Those are the days I actually really enjoy. And I'll tell you why. It's because when I see a bunch of companies all being sold at the same time, something about me in the past has told me that there are panic sellers, right? When somebody sells the stock, sometimes they sell an ETF, and as a result, there are companies that get involved indirectly and they get oversold. And those are the days where I really enjoy because there are certain bets that I have that some of the companies being sold right now is being oversold. They're being sold because of panic sellers. Now, this would be very different if there was discriminate selling. And when I say discriminate selling, I mean that let's say all the stock market was going up, but my company was going down. For example, imagine if I had an Intel moment, right? Where hypothetically, if I held Intel and all of a sudden the stock market is going up, but my freaking Intel stock is going down, that would be a worrisome moment for me because it would make me think, what is going on with my Intel? Is there an issue with Intel company? Why would the whole market go up, but my specific company is being discriminated against? In those particular cases, I do worry, but in cases like this, where we have this indiscriminate, where everything is getting sold off, I am extremely happy about that as an investor because I am investing for the next 30, 40, even 50 years, you guys. I'm not investing in the short term. I don't day trade. And with that being said, I am excited about my two stock holdings, Microsoft and Google, because even though DeepSeek AI has been announced and they have come out with their new app that you can use right now in the App Store, I am still very hopeful for Microsoft and Google. One of the things about Microsoft is that they're a huge player in the data service business. And in my personal opinion, I just think that we have more and more data being created every single year because more and more people are using social media. The younger generation is just they're on the computers, they're on the internet, releasing information, releasing data, and where else better to store that data than Microsoft Azure? Right. And with that being said, they are always creating business services that is crucial, that is sticky business services. Like, let's say you have a recession, you're going to turn off your Microsoft Azure, or will you turn off your Microsoft Outlook? It's very difficult, in my personal opinion, to do so. They have products that are so sticky that even during a recession, you have to have them as a business to function correctly. And then in terms of YouTube, I see YouTube having organic growth in terms of YouTube. It just is an amazing asset for the company. You talk about business ad search. Now, the ad search business, I do understand that there's a lawsuit going on and that it could be broken up. However, when you look at the numbers, when you look at the financials, that Google search business is still growing organically. And that's something that is just amazing to see. And then on top of that, with the cherry on top, you have two things going for you. You have the Google Cloud, where just like Microsoft Azure, more and more data being created every single year. And there's it's such a big pie that Google can take a bigger slice of that pie. And then the second investment they have going on is Waymo. One of the things about Waymo, which is so surprising to me, so many investors keep on downplaying Waymo, and they seem to be having some amazing thesis on Tesla. But when it comes to Waymo, like Waymo's literally got the cars on the roads. They have surpassed the Lyft in certain cities. That there are more people using Waymos than Lyft in certain cities. And I think it's just only about to grow in the future. Yet it does not get the same credit that it deserves. But I am continuing to buy or hold on to these two positions, and I'm looking forward to what the future has to offer for these companies. And we'll see you on the next time, you guys. Bye bye.